Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to be using Excel to help us build a histogram. So we've got a survey was given to individuals, and it is simply asking, look at the data, how many children do you have? And we're just going to go ahead and highlight our data here and bring it over to Excel. So I'm just going to paste this in A1 of a blank sheet. Paste special text. If you don't do this paste special as text, if you just try to do like a standard paste, notice how it like pastes everything in the single line. That's not helpful. What you can do is when you copy it from My Open Math, you can do a right click, paste special text, and OK. Then it will pop up as correctly displayed here. Okay, so we've got our data in here. And we want to ask, first of all, what type of data is this? Remember, we're dealing with numbers here, like number of children, so we're dealing with numerical data. But because we can't do like any value within the range, so nobody would say like I have, 3 3/4 of children. This is going to be discrete data, numerical discrete. Okay, so we want to see which of these histograms correctly depicts the data. So it looks like we're going to need to go from like 0 to 8 or 10 or something like that on our histogram. One thing that we could do is let's first ask some descriptive statistics so that we can figure out our bin sizes. So I'm just going to go ahead and go up to data in the ribbon, go over to data analysis to the right, and then grab descriptive statistics and click OK. In here, I'm going to select my input range. I'm going to click on A1 and then do Control Shift down. That'll select all my data. And it looks like I have 1,081 in mine. Yours may be different. And I'm going to select columns. I'm going to select that, yes, there's a label in the first row. The output range, I'm going to get rid of H and I'll put it into like C1, just so that it's nearby my data that I'm dealing with. And then I do want the summary statistics. And I'll just go ahead and click OK. Okay, so I'm going to widen out this column just so I can see my labels a little bit. It looks like my range goes from 0 to 7. That's what I'm going to do for my bins. I'm going to do bins 0, 1, 2, and instead of typing them out, if you just highlight these, Excel can pick up on the pattern that you're doing. And then it goes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we have all the bins that we need. At this point, we can actually build our histogram. Go to data again, data analysis, go to histogram, click OK. And in this one, we are going to, let me delete quick just so that we can see doing it from the beginning. Click on the input range here. I want to go from A1, Control Shift down, takes me to the end of my data. Go back up to the top. The bin range, I'm going to select my bins, make sure that I have labels selected. Output range, let's go put in, yeah, F1 sounds okay. If you don't have it selected, remember you can always just click here and then click where you want it. And then we do want the cumulative percentage just for the frequency table and then the chart output. And we can go ahead and click OK. Okay, so now we have a frequency table and we have our histogram. Oftentimes they have the histogram really squished, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So now we can kind of compare, okay, our minimum and our maximum to these ones up here. So we know that this first one is wrong because it has the 0 as the minimum and 15 as the maximum, and our maximum is only 7. So we know that actually these first two are wrong, and we actually know that this next one is wrong too. And here we go. We have this is our correct one where we have like 150 in this first bin of 0. This next bin is our bins for 1. The next bin is our bins for 2, etc., etc. So this guy is our correct answer for being able to see our histogram. Cool. All right, so then it asks us, okay, well, let's compare this to our frequency table. Well, let's look at our frequency table. We pull up the frequency table that we just made. It goes from 0 as 182, 1 has 278, or 1 has 278, 2 has 209, etc. This is our correct one. The problem that we have with this guy right here isn't so much that the numbers are wrong, but look how they're out of order. We want those to be in order for our frequency table. So things that like our cumulative frequency and our cumulative relative frequency actually make sense. Okay, that's how you kind of build your frequency tables. And then you could answer a bunch of frequent questions with your frequency table. Like if I asked the percentage above or below some cutoff point, we could get those. Let's just do a quick review too on how can we get those other two columns in our frequency tables if we were actually trying to build a complete frequency table. So if we wanted to do the relative frequency, and then here would just be the cumulative frequency. If we wanted those two, the relative frequency is just going to be equal to, well, before we do that, let's get a total down here. Total equals the sum of this entire column. And that gets me to my 1080. My relative frequency is going to be equal to the individual frequency divided by the total count. And I'm going to lock that total count by pushing F4 and hit enter. I can drag this all the way down. And that gives me my relative frequency. Then my cumulative frequency. This is a kind of interesting one. We're going to do the sum of this point and everything above it. So from G2 to G2. And then I'm going to lock one of these cells by doing F4. And I'm going to hit enter. So I'm summing from this first one to the first one. Then if we drag it down and I double click on this guy, now notice how it's summing from this cell and everything above. If I keep dragging down, the very last one should give me 1080 if I've done it right. So those are the two quick little formulas that you can do to finish off creating your frequency table. Like kind of when you're doing your histograms, they're handy to have so that you can have the actual numbers and the percentages. Okay, that's how you go ahead and build your own frequency tables. Good luck.